you than we've made them in the past. So without holding up Sharon much more than I already have, I'm going to let her take control here and walk us through it.
Okay, I appreciate it. Hi, I'm Sharon from Parts123, and I'm real happy that we have the chance to step through the new system.
Huh?
We can hear some people in the background, and that's going to confuse me.
Yeah, we need mute. For everybody, we need mute. Everybody got mute. Okay, I'm sorry, Sharon.
That's okay.
Take two, I guess.
Okay, take two. Here we are. This is Sharon with Parts123. And this is the login page for your new Parts and Services system. You will use the same user ID and the same password that you've been using on the current system to log in, and Ed will be sending you the email address, the link, the correct address to go to log in from. You will notice here it says Attention Dealers. Once you have logged into the new system, the old system will no longer be available. And that shouldn't be scary because all of your information, all of your ordering history, all of your invoices and everything else returned are all going to be on the new system, so you won't lose anything. And there's one other thing I want to point out from here. We have minimum system requirements. And when I bring that up, you'll see that it says, it has some information about the web browser, and the very first thing listed is Google Chrome, and it says recommended. So if you've been using Internet Explorer of an older version or something, we highly recommend that you move to Google Chrome. It's free, and if you put your cursor on this link, it will take you to the site to download it for no cost at all. And then we also say we do support Internet Explorer 8 or greater, and Mozilla Firefox and Apple Safari, but we just kind of recommend Chrome. Browser settings, this is how they have to be set up, and here are the readers, PDF readers, that we use with our system. So I just wanted to point that out. I'm going to go ahead and log in. And when I get this screen up, this is the default screen for everyone, and you'll notice that it has a little bit different look from the current system that you've been using. So I want to point out, though, that it still has, this is a menu-driven system, and as you put your cursor on one of the buttons at the top, you'll see that the options cascade down below it. So it's the same kind of function that you're used to. You'll also see that there are sort of two portions of the screen. On this side, there's a line here, and on this side, we have the search area. And we're going to step through examples of these. It's part number and description search, bill of material searches, getting to your cart, looking at specials and all is on this side of the screen. On this side, you'll see it says Standard and Catalog Application. Standard refers to the category list that's down here, and if you click on one of the categories to open it, then it's going to cascade the subcategories below. And it says here you can show all of that category, or you can select a portion of it that you want to show. And then you'll click it and it brings up that specific portion. When you're finished, you can either come up here and collapse it that way, or just go and select a new category to work with. And we're going to step through the catalog application and everything else. But if you're going to use the things on this side of the screen predominantly, if you click this arrow, it collapses that section and gives you a little bit more room on your screen to see things that you're working with. So it shows you the last date the system was updated and who's logged on, all the things that you're used to seeing. I'm going to step through some basic examples. I'm going to put in a part number search first, and you'll notice that we still have the auto-suggest feature. So as you key in a part number, after 4 or 5 characters, it'll start to show you possibilities. I'm going to click on one of those, and as it opens it up, it goes directly to what we call the detail information page. And that, again, is something you're used to seeing. It gives you the part number and description. This one happens to be a non-stock item, and if you put your cursor over that question mark, it will say non-stock items cannot be added to the cart. Please call for pricing and availability. So you get some explanation right on the screen. It also restates that down here. It shows you your unit of measure, cell pack, all the typical information. And then there's a section that says part notes. Now, part notes, there's also a link here that says you can add part note. And you would click on that, and you'd put in an amount of free-form text, and then you would save your changes. Now, if someone at a dealership enters a part note, then the people who see that note will be everybody at your dealer account, or if you're in a large account that has branches, everybody within what I'll call that family of accounts can see it. If Bluebird enters a part note, then all users of the system can see it. So that's the difference in terms of availability of the notes. I'm going to come down to the next section, and you'll see it says associated items, and it shows you part number and description, quantity needed. You don't have the purchase button here because you have to call on the availability. But if I scroll down, then I have parent items followed by child items. The parent items refer to an assembly, and the child items are the components. So that's how they're laid out with the terminology that's being used. And then below that, you're going to see applications. And here's a page set 7574 that goes with this one. And you'll see this is sort of the header information. Here's the thumbnail size of the image that goes with it. And if you want to do something with that image, if you put your cursor on this where it says PDF and right-click it, then you can save it and then print it and do anything else you want with that image. So we make that available. But if you come down here, here's the header information. Here's the page set notes. And there's the detail for those. The tips. Detailed content here, as much as you need to have. And below that, there's add an application note. And that works the same way, except this time when you open it, it's going to go to the application note. And if the dealer enters it, that's the same thing the dealer family sees it. If Bluebird enters it, everybody sees it. So if I scroll down, here's the image, and I have a set of buttons here that control the image. If I come over, there's a plus and a minus. The plus enlarges it, and you can click that as many times as you want to. The minus would shrink it back down. But now that I have the image, if I want to move it around so I can see the section that I want to work with on my screen, then you grab it and just move it anywhere you'd like to use it. When I come below, here are the part numbers that correspond to the image in the application. And here's one that's available to be ordered. So you have the add box here. Also, this says notes. If I click that, it's going to then allow you to add line item notes and add part notes down here. And then I can collapse that down again. So that's if I'm finished with this section, I can click this. It'll move it back up, and I go back up to the top of the screen. So that's your first look at the new terminology and how it rolls out on a detailed information page. If I clear that and I can come back in, I'm going to do one more. Okay, now this one can be purchased, and it shows you the pricing levels. Here are the parent items with the part numbers. And we can check for applications. Under that, I can click an application and open it up. Can you all still hear me? I'm hoping. I got a little note pop up from Gina that I lost sound. Okay, she says it's back.
I can hear you fine, Sharon.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. I just want to make sure I wasn't talking to nobody here.
Absolutely.
I've heard this before. Okay, thank you.
That's right.
Okay, so here's your application. I clicked one of those numbers and it popped open. And now I have the information. Here's the thumbnail and here's your image. This one's pretty small, so I'm going to enlarge this several times, get it to the point where I can read it easily. And then I'll drag it around. That way I can look. Here's number 4, number 6. And if I come down here, the key will show me what those are. And this is what you're used to seeing. I can click here on the part number and open up some detailed information about that too. And then just use the X to close it when I'm finished. Okay, so that's 2 part number searches. I'm going to come over and show you. This is like what you're used to, but if I put in a multiple word description search, like cooling system, and then I click go or hit enter. And here's your search return. Now this is a generic search return screen instead of going to a detailed information page. And so you see all the returns. It highlights and bolds the words that you entered. So as you get down here, you can remember, what you searched on. Also, it gives you the part number and the description. And here's how you get to the detailed view and the price, unit of measure, quantity on hand. This would be the pipeline information if you had any. Quantity, discount, cross-reference, and your purchase box. But I want to point out that on any of our screens, if you have a column or heading that's underlined and you put your cursor on it, it will show you that if you click that underlined heading, you will sort the return in this by whatever that field is. So this will sort by part number. If I come over here, this one will sort by description. So just know that if you have defaulted to part number and you want to look at a description order, you just click that, and it's going to rewrite your return in alphabetical order by description. So just whenever you see a heading, you can use that feature. So that's our multi-word description search. Now also, on this same part of the screen, we have it checked for active only, which is fine. You could do show all, but that's a much larger return of items, and active are the ones that are available to be ordered. So that's maybe where you'd want to leave it defaulted. And next to that, we have specials, clearance, and new items. So if you click on one of these buttons, it's going to bring up then, in this case, this is 41 specials. And these are usually promotional items, and they have a start date and an end date, and they show that to you. And then you have it's color-coded to be a special. And you can get to the detail information view. And next to specials, we have clearance. And these items have pricing that's good until the inventory is gone. There are 20 of those active now, and then here's new items. And you can define this as any length of time you'd like. It could be 15 days, 30 days. We'll look, but I think that Bluebird has 30 days on this. So when you're finished looking at one of the special buttons, if you just click back over on the active only, then you're back to the section you were in. So I'm going to now open up the other side of the screen. So just come up here, I'm going to click that arrow, and here's my other section for searching. And I'm going to come down, I want to look at lights and lenses. And once I click it, it opens up all the subcategories that go with that. And I'm going to click miscellaneous, and there's the 11 records that match that choice. Just your generic return screen. Now I can switch to another subcategory from here. I can go to directional. I can select any of them. And when I'm finished with that category, I can just go click on another one, or I can close it up. So I can come up and click on suspension, and now I've got those options available. Now, I'm going to come back to some of these other options, but right now I'm going to show you the bill of material search section. So if I come over here and click on that, you'll notice that it comes up and it prompts me for a number. But it's a little different in the new system in that you can put in a full or partial body number, a chassis number, a VIN, or a service number. And you don't have to identify which one of those it is when you key it in. So, and it also, you'll see, we have an auto-suggest feature on this one, too. So if I come down here, and this is the one I want, I just click on it. And now I've opened up the header information for this group. And I used the body number to find it. And here's all the typical information like what you were used to seeing with the dates and the chassis service numbers and everything else that goes with it, and the customer that they were built for. Now, one thing that's new also is that we have here a BOM list button. And if I click that, it's going to bring up a list that is similar, it is like what your B-Bond system would show you. And now I can scroll through, I can look for things, I can click on part numbers, but maybe it's a long list, and I want to go directly to something. If I hit Control F, as in Frank, then I pop open a little window up here, and if I key in a word, I'm going to use module. See, as I key it in, it's going to find that in the listing. So it goes directly to that. I could go to model or molding or anything. And then it finds it for me, and I can pop it open and do what I want. Now, if I'm finished with looking at the B-Bond list, if I come over here, I can close it, and I go back to the header, and now I can put in a part number or description, or I can use these categories and subs, but I'm going to just click Go, and you'll see that it's going to return all of the items in the inventory, which is 1,577, that refer to that body number. And they return in a regular generic search return screen. Here that you can sort this by superseded part number or by description. But now suppose I want to refine that search and I want to just key in a word. I want to put in bumper. I can key that and click Go. And now there's the 15 records instead of 1,500 records that refer to the bumpers within that group. Now, in the same way, if I knew a specific part number, I could put it in, or I can come over here, and let's say I want to look at doors. Oh, we can pick any of them. Interior. So if I do look at doors, and I can say I want to look at entrance doors, then that's going to return the 139 records that apply to this body number for entrance doors. And then I don't have to, I can just go then, I want to say look at list. Now I've got the 32 records that match that choice. So when you're in the BOM search area, these categories and subs are directed at the vehicles that you have selected. All right. Now I'm going to show you. When I'm finished with bill of materials, all I have to do is uncheck it, and now the regular screen comes back up and I have everything else available. On this left side of the screen now, if I come over and I click on Catalog Application, it's going to come up and ask me to select a search type. So I can come down here and I can say page set, so it puts in a PS, and if I want to put look at page set 000057, all I have to enter is the 57. I don't need all the leading zeros. And if I click Go, then it's going to give me all the information that goes with that. So here's my PS57, the header information, my thumbnail and my image. I'm going to go ahead and expand this, zoom in, come down here and find one. This is the one I want way over here. I can just move it around, and then here's my part numbers, everything that goes with it. Now that's if I happen to know a page set number. But suppose that I want to come in here and do a different type of search. I'm going to reset this. And now I'm going to go down and I'm going to do a drill down myself to find something. And once I select the type, I'm going to hit continue. And then the program is going to prompt me for the selections that I have to get the result. So I'm going to 360 Windows, black, 28-inch, 9-inch opening, Series 1. And when it's finished with all the options that I'm going to have to get a return, you notice it's not prompting me for another one. I just click the Go button. And now it's presented me with page set 4248, which matches the selections that I made. And it comes down and gives me the same type of information, where your image and your parts and everything else that goes with that. Now, if you want something to change, you don't have to go back to the beginning. Maybe you want to start here with the sizing or the color. Just go back to that point and come forward from there, and then hit go, and you've got the new result. So you don't have to start over again. Now there's one other thing I wanted to, I'm going to go over here and show you. There is something here called the Window Kit Fast Finder. And that is available here on the front screen because all of the parts that go into the window kit are in the Bluebird inventory. I'm going to show you a little bit later that we have one for seat cover Fast Finder. It's not on the front screen with this one because all of the parts come from Bessie and C.E. White dropship catalogs. So when you get into the dropship section, that's when you're going to see it. But if you're here, I'm going to show you window kits. If you click on that, it comes up with basic information about how it works. You can identify replacement part kits for passenger and driver windows. On Bluebird school buses for windows manufactured by Spectol and installed, and these are all that. Click one of the 4 tabs at the bottom of the screen to select a window type. So I can come down here and have driver's window, split sash, horizontal, and push out. If I select one of those, then it pops up, and if I know an assembly number, then I can enter the assembly number right here. It's ready for that. But if I don't know, I can drill down like I did on the other side. So I'm going to come in and select a series and a width and a height and a finish, a glass type. And when I finish that drill down, then it shows me here are all the kits that go with that. So I've got the glass pane and the slider sash and the seal, all of these, and I can click on any one of them and look at the detail. And if I click on Fast Finder, it's going to take me back to the original screen, and I can switch and look at another kit. So that's how the Window Kit Fast Finder works.
I never used that before.
It's a new feature So you might want to get on and give that a try. I'm going to show you one other thing under catalog application. You can also look for a feature note. So I'm going to show you an example. Put in a note number. And here's feature notes containing this 2783. So then you can go to any of these page set views and open it up. Allows you to get all the information you need from there. Okay, so that's your quick tour of all of the searches that are handled on this side of the screen and most of these searches. But I want to come here too, and I want to show you still have what you're used to with a quick order form. So you can put in a part number and the quantity ordered as many times as you want to, and then click Add Items to Cart. And it works just the same way. We also have here the Import Order option. And if I click on that, if any of you at your dealership, if you have any kind of internal software that allows you to build a purchase order, and you want to enter those items into a Bluebird shopping cart, but you don't want to have to rekey all the part numbers, you can come to this section, and the very first time you're going to set up this part, and it's going to ask you for the file type, and it shows you some examples, and it can also be an Excel spreadsheet. So I'm going to select that one, and I'm going to click the Continue button. And then as long as you can get to the file from the PC that you're using to run the system, so if it's on your network or if it's on your PC, you can come here then and put in any file name. Is going to show you the ones that match your search. I'm going to open the file, and now it's got that file name here, and I'm going to click Upload Internal File. And what our program did was it went and opened the file, and it's showing me with the columns some of the data. Now this particular file, because I put it together to use to test and demonstrations and training, it only has the part number and the quantity ordered. But if it was a real file that you all were using, it could have any number of other columns of information. It could say description and weight and unit of measure and price and any other information. And and these don't have to be in the first two columns. They could be anywhere, because the program is going to ask you to tell it where it's located. So in this case, the part number is in column 1, and the quantity ordered is in column 2. And now there's a Submit button. I'm going to go ahead and click that. And now the program says, here's the data. The way you defined it, is it aligned correctly? And I'm going to say, yes, it is. And now there's going to have a message that says, uploading items to the cart. And it pops up a screen and it says, all items were added to your cart except. And then it'll list you any part numbers that didn't go into the cart. And it gives you some possible reasons. Maybe it's a typo. Maybe it's a number that's no longer valid. It's out of stock and it can't be back ordered. Any of the reasons can be here. And then you can print this screen for future reference. So you can print these off and go look them up later. But when I click the View Cart button, you will see that we have 105 items loaded into our cart, and we didn't have to rekey any of that. So it's a real time saver, and it verifies the part numbers when it goes in. And when you get into the cart now, you'll see the line number, which is just the chronological order in which these things were added to the cart. The part number, the superseded part number, description, price, package, required quantity, any cell pack requirement would be here. If there were notes for the line items, you could access them here. And here's the quantity available and the pipeline information while you're in the cart. So if I click on this one, it says -6, but there are 25 due on April the 26th, less the committed orders of 6. So you know where it stands and you know what the inventory is going to look like. It also shows you quantity discounts in the cart. So when I click this one, for example, it shows there's a break at 4 and 72. Maybe I'm going to go ahead and get 4 while the price is going to be less. So it's helpful to have that information while you're in the cart. You can create a shopping cart. Maybe you want to start an order on a Monday or Tuesday and add to it until Thursday, and then you're going to submit the order on Thursday or Friday. What you can do is go ahead and start the cart, and then you can come down here, and we have some options. And they say you can save the cart. So if I click that button and save it, then I can use a name of something that's already been used, or I can call it whatever I want to. I'm going to call this stock order or stock 1. And then I'm going to submit. Okay. Now that cart's been saved. So suppose I'm finished for the day and I want to empty this cart because somebody else wants to use the same PC or there's something else going on. I can empty the cart and it's going to warn me. You say, are you sure? And I'll say, okay. Then I'm going to go to the recall saved cart option when I get back on the system. And it's going to ask me to select a name. So I'm going to go to the one that I was working with and click it and say okay. And it's going to recall the cart. Now suppose this cart, let's say it's another day and I come through and I just put 1 or 2 things in the cart. Then if I go to save the cart, it's going to ask me, and if I use the same name, that's going to warn me. It's going to pop up and say, oops, you already have a cart with that name. And it gives you 2 options. You can either overwrite it, which is going to totally replace the cart, or you can append to the saved cart. So if I'm starting an order, I might want to overwrite. Maybe this is the new one for this month or this week. I want to overwrite the old one. Or if I'm working on it and this is Wednesday and we want to just append to what we've created so far, then we select this option. So it gives you the chance. It doesn't allow you to accidentally overwrite a cart that already exists. So you can also, I'm sure you're familiar, but these are the same options you had. You can export the cart to a spreadsheet and then use that information internally for any of your planning or whatever you might want to do. You can empty the cart, you can update the cart, so I can change the quantity or delete a line item. But when I'm finished and I'm ready to go, then I'm going to click the Finish Order button. And I come up with my billing shipping information screen. Now the required fields have asterisks next to them. And so I'm going to put in some information. And you'll notice that once I've keyed in the required information, that asterisk turns to a check mark. So that's correct, and I can go on to the next one. And there's a cookie on your PC that's going to save this information. So once you've entered it, you don't have to do it again unless it changes. Unless something about the information changes or someone else is using the same PC. And then in this section you're used to looking at, it's the same thing. It's your shipping preferences. Here's the list. It's supplied by Bluebird, ship partial or only complete, routine, expedite or customer pickup. Special instructions can be any freeform text. And in this section, it's going to require this first and last name again. And once I've entered all the required information, now this Continue button is available. Before that, it's grayed out. So I'm going to click Continue. And now here's my order, just like what you're seeing on the original system. All the details. And this is the form that you're going to get in your email order confirmation. And this is what is going to go to Bluebird. As soon as you hit this submit order button, it goes to Bluebird. There's no lag time on that. And you can print the form from here if you would care to do that. So this is a live production system, so I'm going to back out. I'm not going to order for this company. I think they'd be shocked if they got this order with 105 items on it. So we're just going to go backwards. And now we're back where we started. So that was everything about the quick order and the import order and the cart and checkout and process of the order. So now I'm going to show you, this is the drop ship section. And we have a new option here. We have the logo buttons that you're used to seeing, but we also have a pick list in alphabetical order. So you can just come down here and select your drop ship if you care to do that instead. So I'm going to go look at CE White. These items are on special till April 3rd. That's why they're coded as color. But here's the seat cover fast finder that I mentioned. It's found under Betsy and CE White. So if I click that, it's going to be the same kind of drill down that we had on the other one with the Windows kit fast finder. And you will be prompted until it gets to no more options. So I'm just randomly checking things to show you how this works. And then if that's not really valid because I didn't really pay attention to the options, but here would be the part number, not yet available for online order, and then you would contact somebody. But that's exactly how it works, the easy drill down.
It gives you a picture of the fabric, too.
Yes, yeah, there's a little thumbnail of that. You click all parts, it goes back to the original dropship catalog.
Oh.
So that's the dropships, and that's the seat cover fast finder. Now under status, this is what you're used to, but we have open orders. This dealer doesn't have any open orders. Here's the order summary. You can look at this by PO number or order number or date range. You can print this information. You can export it, again, to a spreadsheet or a file that you want to use. And then it shows you these are C for complete. Here's the internet order number that Parts123 assigns when you start the order online. And here's the Bluebird order number. So we send this one to them, and they send this one back to us, and that means the communication loop is complete. And here's the order type, the vendor, whether it's Bluebird or a drop ship, purchase order number. I can sort this by PO number or date, who entered the order, number of line items, total, and the PDF. Now also, if I click one of these, if I click the PDF, it's going to, well, there's no records for that guy. But you wouldn't lose your place. You could see it just like you can on the current system. And if I come over, I can pop open the detail order just like what you're used to. Now we do have one new option here. It says show only incomplete. Now this is a pretty short order, and we can kind of look at it on one screen. But if it was the 105 line items we had on the other order I used, maybe you'd want to look at only the incomplete items. If I click this and there were 3 incomplete, it would just show you those 3 incomplete lines. So you can review that. And then when you're finished, you can show all, and it comes back to the whole order. So that's a new shortcut that we've built in. The next one is the sales totals. This is a snapshot in time. This runs on the nightly update, so it's as of last night. And here's the totals in terms of, for your account, month-to-date purchases, year-to-date dropship, year-to-date warehouse, purchases, credits, returns, current quota, year-to-date net purchases. Here's the percentage of dropship, percentage of warehouse, prior year credits, returns, current year quota, percentage of year-to-date quota, and total prior year net purchases. So it's just a snapshot account. You have the part number order history. If you wanted to put in a part number and find out all the orders that's been on and the dates and everything, you can enter it here, just the same as what you have. Here's the print invoice credit. Again, you can pull this by specific numbers or a date range, or you can look at all of them. You can export this information again from this screen. Here's your invoice and order number, total, order date. And, of course, here's your bill of lading number. And you have a direct link to do your tracking from here. So if you click on your BOL number, it's going to go directly into Conway in this case. Here's your tracking information, and you notice it opens it in a separate window, so you haven't lost where you were in the system. And you just close this one, and you're back where you were. And if you had things that were printed in the old system, when you get onto this system, they will show as printed, so you won't lose any of that information. And there's your invoice. Again, in a separate window, and just close that when you're finished. Now, we also are showing you statistics of usage of the system. And that's going to show you, in this case, usage summary. And this, you can look at all catalogs, or you can separate out and look at Bluebird or one of the dropship catalogs. And for this information, you'll see you've got the date and the time frame, the number of users, number of logins, Bluebird users, if that's separate, number of searches that were made, number of BOM searches, number of page views, number of screens, and then total orders, number, and dollars. And the way this is laid out is that for the first week, it shows you a daily total. For the first month, it shows you weekly totals. For the rest of the year, it's going to show you monthly totals. And for the previous years, it shows you yearly totals. So that's the detail of how it lays out. And that's for usage. Now, if I want to go look by orders, then again, you can pull it any way you'd like. And in this case, though, it's going to show you PDC orders, the number and the dollar amount, dropship orders, number and dollar amount. Here's the aggregate total orders, and this even will split out your import order, or we call them upload orders here. And again, the same kind of detail, and you can drill down and see detail from here if you need to. So those are the stats that are currently available for you now in the system under stats. Over here we have administrative. Under user administration, we have customer ID maintenance. And when you look at that, each person who uses the system has been assigned, as you know, a user ID and a password and their name. But along with that, there's a title. And here's the list of what the titles are. Now, for dealer users, here are the possibilities. And if you're an administrator or somebody who can set up accounts on your side, then you can see these titles. And each one carries with it what we call a permission level, and it dictates which screens and what data on the screens that user is going to see. So there can be a difference. Each one of these users then has a customized view of the system. So maybe the parts manager is going to see something different than the customer manager, or certainly than the guest. So it gives you some options when users are set up. And then you can also select price levels. You can say whether or not they should see contract pricing. You can even block orders from this area. Now, when you look at this, the passwords are encrypted, so they're not available for everybody to see. You can come through and look at the titles, and you can change the titles, you can change the price level once the user ID has been set up. This agree date refers to the first time that particular user got onto the system. They were shown something called the terms and conditions and asked to agree to it. So Bluebird has stored the date when they agreed to it. This shows the last login and the total number of logins. So if I come back up here to administration, this user agreement is always available. So if you ever have questions about the policies and procedures for using the online system, it's always available to review, and we always have the most recent version posted online. So that's what's under user agreement. And this, the only other one here is to change password and profile. And that, some companies prompt for their users to change their password every 60 days or so. And so this is where people come to do that. And here's the profile information, and it stores your numbers and your email address. And that's important to keep current because it will automatically put that into things that you send from the system to Bluebird or to Parts123. That's where it comes to get the email address. So that's everything under user administration. This is the announcement summary, and you're familiar. It's exactly what you've seen. You can go back and look at these again. These are the ones that pop up the first time you log on after they've been posted. And here's the account profile. This shows you the parameters that are used to set up the system for this particular dealer account. And it has things like, do you have site access? Are the orders being blocked? Can you download the price file, yes or no? They're all yes or no's. There's a credit limit number. Do you have access to bill of material searching? Customer service rep. Here's the profiles for the RGA module, the return goods. Here's whether or not this account can use drop ships. Do they have ship overrides? So all that information is stored on this screen and can be updated. User support will come up, and it's already read in who the logged on user is, and here's your email address and your phone number. And you have free-form text here. And this one is to contact Parts123 with any technical questions regarding the system. So if you get an error message or anything happens that you don't understand, you can fill out one of these. It comes directly to us, and we'll answer you. And here's just your send support request. Below that is the download price file option. You come to this screen, you can select a catalog. So it could be everything, or it can pick one of the catalogs. And then you get the opportunity to select. Now the first time you do it, you'll have to get the entire price file. Thereafter, you can get only the changes and additions. You can dictate what kind of file format you want it in. It can be any of these file types or a spreadsheet. You can view the file layout so you know what the data is when you get it. And then you can just click download and you'll get the price file. So that's how that one works. RGA is your return goods. It's the same as what you were using. All of your information, your history will be on the new system. Periodic returns. Click the detail open to look at it. Everything translates to the new system. Now, branch selection. If you are with an account that has multiple locations, and if you have an administrator at maybe the main branch and they want to be able to log on one time and look at information for each of the branches without having to log in and out for each different account number within that family of accounts. Then if you send that information to Ed Mann, he can then send that on to us and we can set up a branch selection for you all to use, and then you won't have to log in and out. So that's what that refers to. Now if I go to the help, read help just means the help on the particular screen you're looking at. I'm not sure that this operations manual is really active anymore, but that's a place where Bluebird can put all that information. Again, what we saw on the front screen about systems requirements, that's here again, and it's, again, the links to get to things. If you needed a new copy of Adobe, you could click here and get it without having to go somewhere and find it. Here's the warranty, regular RGA routing guide. All of these things are the latest versions of all this. It's online. Print it, do what you want. UPS freight policies, and these are broken out by type. Print it, use it, whatever you need to do, all available here. Canadian UPS rates, export rates. Now this Contact Us is going to go to Bluebird. So it's more about the data on the system, things that you would like to find and do for the parts that you're looking for. Again, you just fill this out, put in freeform text, and click Send. And that one will go to Bluebird. And titles and permissions refers to, I showed you that list of titles. So if you wanted to come in here and find out what exactly does it mean if I make somebody a gift, what do they have access to? Then you can open this up, and this gives you the name of the screen. So here's the bill of materials part search. And then this tells you the type of access. And X is none, and W is normal. And R means they can look at it, but they can't change anything on it. So for a guest, you see there's lots of X's. They're restricted as to what they can see. So that's what we have under the help screen. Home would go to the Bluebird website. So now we're back to the default screen. And you'll see, too, on the default screen, we have a little section at the top that shows you the shopping cart with the number of items and the dollar total. So while you're working on the system, you have that information available to you. So that is your tour of the new system. It's hard to know if you have specific questions because you haven't had a chance to be using it probably yet. We are going to have a cut over to the new system starting next week, I believe. So you will want to get on and start getting used to it. Do we have any questions? Is there anything that you...
Oh, I'm sorry, Sharon. Go ahead.
No, just because anything you normally do that I didn't show you how to do, or any other question?
Well, while guys might be thinking of questions, Sharon, let me just say that we will have a parts brief that would have the URL to be able to get to the new Parts123. That should be coming out, I would imagine, in the next week or so. And I believe that the latest date in terms of go live is probably the first part of May. I don't have the exact date, but I know that Bill and Chuck were talking about that as like it's reason is yesterday.
I believe it's the middle. It's going to be May 10th, May 11th, somewhere in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you, Gina.
Okay, well, I want to say something about that then, just so you know. While we're supporting two versions of this system, while we have what I'm going to call the old or classic system running and the new one, a couple of things are going to have a little lag time. So if you set up a new user ID, for example, in the new system, it won't be available till the following day. So a few things like that would be like a one-day delay. If you set up the user ID in the old system, you're going to have it available that day. So if you have any questions while you do things like that, just send us an email if there's an issue.
And I would ask this too. I mean, I know that someone might want to have a sneak peek at it. Is that something, Gina and Sharon, that is possible, or is that something you discourage?
A sneak peek at the new system?
Getting the URL in advance of the formal release?
Oh, absolutely. We want you to use it. We want you to use it as early as possible.
Definitely. I would go ahead and send it to them, encourage them to begin using it, and right away. One of the things I've been sharing as far as previous phone calls is the dealers that are using the side-by-side, they're using the yellow parts catalog and Parts123. The updates for the service parts catalog have been coming out once a year. The catalog that's on here, the advantages are that is live updates. So as soon as new parts are loaded, new diagrams are loaded, everything of that nature, you're getting information from your CSRs, and they're showing you new diagrams, how to locate a part, and you're going, well, that's not in my catalog. How did you find that? Well, whatever your CSR, your RPM is looking at, and whatever we're locating, it's live. Everything is live right there in Parts 123 in this catalog, so whatever your CSR has access to, you will have access to. You are strongly encouraged to go ahead, log on, start using this.
Okay, great. So
Yeah.
That's good to know. That's good to know, because I know that some organizations might want to get a jump on it ahead of the live date. So
Definitely.
yeah. And I would emphasize too, I think what Sharon said about Google Chrome. It seems the system does seem to work much better, I think, with Google Chrome.
It does.
What she mentions is recommended, and there's a good reason for that.
Take it from somebody here who is using either IE11 plus Google Chrome. I see the benefits to using the Google Chrome.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And specialty. Sorry, I need to clarify when this is actually going into effect. Like, you're telling people to sign on now already, or?
Yes.
You have it available now. It's going to be available from now on for you all. And once you log into the new system, then you're just going to commit to that because your user ID is not going to be valid on the old system. However, it's better to go ahead and start using it. The official date for your company to no longer make the other system available will be the middle of May, it sounds like.
Correct.
So I actually make this change today, and as of now, I would be using it.
That's correct.
And it's live, and it's current, and everything about it is being maintained. So,
right.
And you're not going to go back. And Sharon, you might again, you mentioned it just a little while ago, but the ramifications of going on to the new system, I don't think there are many. There's no negative to it. But just so folks know, once they go into the new system, they're there.
then they're there. They're committed to it, virtually by going on to the new system. But as I said, all of your history is there, all of your information. So you're not going to lose anything if you start using the new system.
You'll see.
And
There's many benefits to it. There really is.
Yeah.
Sorry,
And
someone
so
was
if we
also
can-
mentioning earlier that there was going to be a bulletin sent out with the
Yes.
proper sign-on documentation, I believe.
Yes, and they will announce the formal. It would be basically the official announcement of the date, the official date. But if we could, maybe on this call, or if Gina or Sharon could type into the text field. Well, I see a lot of people down below asking for the URL.
Well, I
Let
think
me
you
show
sent
you.
out in an email earlier, Ed.
Right there.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, there it is, right there.
I've highlighted it on my screen so you can see it, and Ed may have sent it to you in an email.
Mm-hmm.
This is the address.
And then Jason, we have a question from Jason at Elder. We are able to place orders now and have them filled? Yes.
Yes.
The answer to that is yes. I don't know if you can hear me, Jason, or I should text back to you.
Well, I'll pass it along. Yes, it's all live.
Correct.
Okay. Yep, I accidentally sent that to just one individual. Let me send it again. There we go. Anything else that anybody can think of? Any other questions? Feedback? It's positive, negative? What do you guys think? What's your reaction to it? If anybody would like to chime in.
Hi, Rod here again. Ed, you may recall our conversation last week where I made one suggestion about highlighting the part number on the illustration that we were looking at. I don't know if that would be made the request in time for that or not, or whether it'll come in the future. So far, I can see a whole lot of benefits to this system, especially the fact that you're consolidating essentially 3 programs into one, functionality-wise. So far, what I'm seeing, I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that functionality that you talked to is going to be a ways downstream. There's no way to be able to do that right now. But Chuck did take note of it too. We definitely. I know what you're saying. What Rod is asking about is the ability on a diagram to have, after conducting the part search, be able to highlight that as an item number on a diagram. Sometimes in a complicated diagram can be, okay, what am I looking at? Where is that number 54? On this large diagram, so that can be tough. Another question coming in: there's still going to be an annual update to the CD for the customers that use it. Yes, I believe so. Gina, you can maybe better address that, but I do believe that's not really for Parts123 because they're just taking the data we provide and passing it through. But
It will.
I believe, Gina, there is going to be updates to the CD for at least a while.
For a while, probably, but it's being maintained through Parts123. Those similar updates are all being mass updated. Daily, or as often as that information, we receive it, or if it's daily, weekly, or whatever, it's all being held right there in Parts123. The goal is to have this kind of as our one-stop resource.
Mm-hmm.
So, if they were only being sent out once a year, I see that being phased out.
Mm-hmm. And so another question that comes in from Dynamic here about to offer URL to allow the user to access parts info and diagrams. I'm assuming they're talking about VBond. VBond is not going to go away because
No,
they're
VBond will always be, for your key fobs and stuff, right.
And another question from Jason Kirkman. I would not do away with the yellow pages just yet. He asked could we do away with the yellow pages? I don't see a reason to really do away with them. I think it's a matter of work habits. I think once you get into the new Parts123, you probably won't really need them. They won't be as updated as the new Parts123.
Correct.
But we will still have them available for people outside the organization that might want to be able to use it as well.
Right.
And can there the ability to have guests from Dynamic? I'm addressing this orally. I hope that's okay. Again, that fast. But one of the things that's going to roll out, I think maybe toward the end of the year, first part of next year, is a Bluebird website portal, and that will contain all kinds of really good information, not just parts related, but it would allow you to navigate through, and a reduced or a subset of that website would be available for guests to log in. However, with where we're at right now with Parts123, as with the old Parts123, if you had a service facility, for example, set up in another city to do service work for you, you can limit what they can do, and that's the same with this system. So you can have guests that would be able to log in and perhaps see reduced information or a subset of what you have available, depending upon that user, how you set that user up.
I'd just like to make a comment too about procedurally. If when you're using the system, we appreciate feedback. We certainly want to know if you find a feature that you would like to have that's not in the system currently. If you'll send that to Ed, and then he will send that on to Parts123, and we funnel everything through Scott Sorensen, who's quote the system owner at Bluebird, and he'll then prioritize and work with the IT folks to make sure we have the data to support that request, and then those things will be added, in a priority manner.
That's right.
Again, one other question: if we're not getting rid of the yellow catalog on our own systems for the time being, and I agree with that. When we sign on to the new 123, I realize the old 123 is gone, but our old catalog lookup, which I think Ed refers to as B-Bond, I'm not sure, that is still going to be available to us, is it not? As we have it loaded right now?
Yes, and that would be when I talk about B-Bond, I'm referring to not the catalog, not the yellow pages, the DVD, but the FOB, the FOB website where you need the FOB or you need the
Right.
Yeah, that's still available. That's not going anywhere. We still need that.
Right.
Folks will need to get access to that, so that's not going away.
Well, I'm just thinking also while we learn the new system, that's a good backup for us. So
Absolutely. Yeah, that's and for other reasons, it's going to continue to be there.
okay.
I don't know for how long. I don't know if we're talking years or I'm sure we're talking years as a minimum. I would think. Isn't that right, Gina?
For B-Bond? Or...
Yeah, for B-Bond.
Oh, yeah, B-Bond.
Anytime?
Yeah.
Sure.
I'm...
Not in the foreseeable future, as far as I can tell.
No, yeah. When I was talking about going away, I was talking about the yellow catalog pages. I was not referring to B-Bond. I apologize if I created any confusion. Yeah.
No, that's exactly.
Yeah, I was
Right
just-
with that.
Yeah.
The level of backup we would have in our own systems here. So
Yeah.
Sure, absolutely. Good questions. Any other questions that come to mind from anybody out there? Either type them in or speak out. Either way.
I definitely have every bit of confidence. Once they log on, they will be glad they did. I've been using it for quite some time now. One of the first users on here for a while now, and it's great.
Yep, I would agree. I've been using it too, and haven't gone back.
Yeah, I had access to both, and I think once I logged on, I didn't even look back.
Yeah. Absolutely. Any other questions? Wait a minute. Here we go. From Ken over at Ken Kelly. The V-Bomb search still only go back to mid-90s. Yeah, the data there hasn't changed. And that's probably, I doubt that they would, go retro with the data as buses can, with age, fall out of operation. But as far as the VOM search, nothing on that side has changed so far as I know at this point in time. Anything else anybody can think of? Take your time here. It's good these are good questions. Anything else? I almost want to be like one of those guys that says going, gone. So if nobody can think of anything else, I'd like to thank Sharon and Gina for putting this on. I know we had the regional trainings over the past 2 weeks, and it wasn't the best, being in a hotel room, in a large room. This is much better to see it on the screen like this. So I really appreciate Sharon's patience and doing this for us all these times. She's been great about having a lot of patience. So
Happy to help any way
you.
we can.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
thank you very much.
Thank you, Sharon.
Bye.
You bet. You all have